track you down just for the pleasure of burying your bones.
Let's go, bub.
Round one, fight!
Hello there, gang, and welcome to another episode of Displaying-Model-Behaviour, the Earth's mightiest video podcast. Today we're doing What's the Story, this time with the Wolverine and Sabretooth 2-pack. This is all part of Wolverine's 50th anniversary, and oh my goodness, they're celebrating in style by finally giving us what we want, and that is classic Jim Lee Sabretooth in his big, hulking, terrifying glory. We did have this character design back in 2018 in the Apocalypse wave, and the only caveat that everyone said about that was that he was a little bit too small. Select did a version of this guy, and that was decent, but again, it was Select, so a bit more limited in design and articulation. We wanted a Marvel Legend. Now we got arguably the quintessential version of this guy. But what is this look all about? Where does it come from? What's the story?
He said it!
Well, I'm going to tell you. This is the look that was debuted, in my mind at least, I'm pretty certain, by Jim Lee. This is why he's called Jim Lee Sabretooth by most people. So when we had the X-Men launch or relaunch with the #1 issue in 1991, I want to say, I could be wrong. It wasn't that long after that we got Sabretooth debuting this badass looking costume, which was a great kind of reinterpretation of his original look, which was a lot more kind of plain, but still lots of fur, and it looked very feral. It was fun, but it wasn't quite badass enough. And Jim Lee went, don't worry, your boy's got this. And he just sketched out this wicked looking Sabretooth, and then boom. All media was off to the races. X-Men 92 cartoon, that's what Sabretooth looks like. Marvel vs. Capcom or X-Men vs. Street Fighter, whichever one Sabretooth first appeared in, bam, that was the look. And of course, that's the look that carried him all through the 90s. So my generation now in our late 30s, early 40s, to us, that's the quintessential Sabretooth. And dang it, Marvel Legends, you finally captured it. That's the look. Because also for me, this is encompassing the most dramatic, perfect arc of Sabretooth's character, where he realizes that he can't control his bloodlust, and he actually goes to the X-Men, he goes to Professor X, and he says, hey, look, I actually do want to kind of fix this, okay? So they had this wonderful antagonistic story where he's kind of a prisoner of the X-Men, but Charles is trying to help him because he knows what he can do with Wolverine. He helped Wolverine control his bloodlust, and he's thinking, I can do this again. I can win the double. I can do this for Sabretooth as well. Because Sabretooth used to have this psychic called Birdie, who gave him what he referred to as the glow, which kind of suppressed his killer instincts. But unfortunately, she got killed. So he had no one to do that, and he was just starting to go crazy with bloodlust. So the X-Men were looking after him, but unfortunately, he couldn't get over just this will to just murder everyone. So eventually he escapes, and that's where he has what I consider to be the ultimate throwdown with Wolverine, which was so, just Wolverine issue 90, one of the best comics ever made, in my personal opinion, where eventually he says to Wolverine, like, you either got to kill me or I'm going to murder everyone that you ever loved. And guess what? Wolverine does it. He pops his claw up through Sabretooth's head. And this is back in the day when healing factors couldn't necessarily just fix everything. There was a story several years previously where Sabretooth got his back broken, and it took him weeks of lying in a sewer, drinking sewer water to actually heal up. So getting a claw through the brain, that could be it. That was a very dramatic moment. It wasn't, though. Instantly after that, we switch over to the Age of Apocalypse for 4 months. But then when we come back, Sabretooth is still alive, but he's been lobotomized. So he's just this little feral cat, essentially. And the X-Men are looking after him and trying to rehab him. But eventually it's shown it was all a work. He was just lulling them into a full sense of security. He is still as vicious and twisted as he ever was. And eventually, when Jean Grey goes into his mind and she sees that there's essentially no saving him, that they decide, okay, you know what, we're done with you. And they go to ship him off basically to S.H.I.E.L.D. or the Raft or wherever they're going to imprison him. But before they can do, he escapes. And there's an awesome fight scene between him and Psylocke. And Psylocke, she plunges her sonic dagger into his head to try and calm down his animal rages. And he's like, sorry, kid, but since the runt popped his claw in my head, the glow don't work no more. And then he absolutely savages Psylocke and escapes. And man, then the 5 original X-Men have to go and try and track him down. And he eventually goes out like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. It's amazing. If that was the end of Sabretooth's story, that would have been awesome. But hey, comic books don't do that. Comic books keep on going, and then he's had 25, 30 years of history after that. But you know what? That for me, that's my quintessential Sabretooth story. And this is the style, the design that just encapsulates all of that. So through the 90s cartoon, through the Capcom video games, through different appearances, that's the Sabretooth, Jim Lee Sabretooth. And finally, we got it in Marvel Legends form, a quintessential version. Also, he comes with the Wolverine, who looks very nice. But what am I going to do? Tell you about every story where Wolverine appears in civilian clothes? There's a lot. But it's a good-looking Wolverine. But that's not the lead story here. It's this Sabretooth, Jim Lee Sabretooth, and dang it, they absolutely nailed it. Cannot wait to get my hands on this 2-pack. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun, and he's going to look awesome on the shelf with Wolverine launching into a scrap. Man, yeah, this is going to be an instant pre-order for me. But gang, what about you? What do you think about this design? What do you think about the character? Comment below, let me know. And until next time, keep displaying model behavior.